Boss, can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you, Nani. I just was putting on my headphones.
Are you able to share?
Let me get the boop, 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 boop. Like I've been redoing this all morning. Hold on. Let me minimize. So, you know, when the PowerPoints pop up, they pop up now on all three screens.
Hi, Lana.
How are y'all doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
That's not what I need. I'm just trying to hold on.
Do you share a screen type thing?
Yeah. My goodness. So dumb. Let me move this. Wait, I'm gonna move. All right, give me just a second. I'm just trying to move stuff around. There's Teams. There's WebEx. I'm gonna cancel this for a second. Let me move you guys down here. Now. Da 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 da.
Yep. Woohoo.
Da 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 da. So I was printing out, you know, I just print out a paper copy, and I've tried a couple of times. I don't know if y'all can see this, but all the headings are like this deep gray, and they make the writing in black. So I can't. It's like that's useless. Oh, throw me a bone, Yolanda.
Phone. Literal.
How's it going for you today?
Good. I'm working from home today because I wasn't sure if the snow was gonna like actually pick up, and it didn't. It's fine, but I missed my screens. But that's okay.
You are snow avoidant.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, I've lived up here long enough to know that they'll clear the roads quickly, but it's just like when it gets below freezing, and with the wind chill, it's kind of below freezing today. Like I just don't want to risk the ice and things, but
Right, right. I talked to Nani about this yesterday about how crazy it is here in Raleigh when it's iced.
well, they closed a lot of the local schools around here, and it hadn't like. I mean, again, I completely gotta do what you gotta do, but you know, it was like flurries that weren't even sticking. But I guess you don't know what's gonna happen, so it's better to be safe than sorry. But
Right.
I know the kids were happy though.
So, yeah, I kind of rerouted my presentation. I'm sorry if it looks different. I just, you know, when you don't look at it for a little while and you look at it again, I'm like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, but we had some good conversations this morning with Chris Sadler, and then Terry and I talked to Jamie Blackwell for an hour and a half today um, about expert approval and payments. And that's going to be a little complicated, but I think it's going to work. Terry's still in the pickup line.
Yeah, she was. We're gonna meet later to go over stuff for Friday, and I think it's an early release day. She said.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, I don't know that I noticed on the calendar there were any early release days in Wake. Yeah, I just thought about that. That's strange.
I wonder how they decide. Like what day, you know.
Yeah, Terry says he hates early release days. Well, all right.
Are we getting any snow soon? Do you know?
Do you say, are we getting any snow?
Mm-hmm.
Never get snow again. Who knows? Crazy stuff, but maybe. All right, I gotta quit clicking things because then I'm about to mess up my screen share. Nope, that's not what did I just do? Okay. Hi, everyone. I see it's 12 o'clock. We're going to wait just a couple more minutes and then we'll get started. Thanks. Okay, well, thanks everyone for joining us. My name is Eric Zagrai, and I'm with the Office of the Juvenile Defender in Raleigh. And today we are going to talk about our office's appointment project, and um, want to make sure that if there are any questions from folks attending today, that they can ask. Um, this process is ongoing. We're still working with IDS and others on the details. Um, but as you can see from the presentation, we're about three-quarters of the way there. Those of you who have already applied, I hope this is helpful. But those of you who are considering applying, I hope it's also helpful. I would also mention that we are recording this, and we'll likely have it on our website, so you can refer back to it. But always, 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 feel free to give us a call when you have a question. All right. So what we want to talk a little bit about today is what resources are our office providing right now on first-degree murder cases. Talk a little bit about how we got here, trying to develop a roster and appointment authority, and then, of course, open it up to questions. But I do encourage you to, you know, jump in anytime with any questions, but we will have space at the end as well. All right. So once we identified um, this as an issue, when I say this, I think everybody probably on the call knows, but we are specifically talking about youth who are 13, 14, 15, 16, or 17 charged with first degree murder. As everybody knows, when Raise the Age was passed on December 1st of 2019 for offenses committed on or after, all these youth started in juvenile court now. And so we wanted to focus our efforts on providing training and guidance for these cases because obviously of their severity, but also their complexity. You have to know a little bit of juvenile law, you have to know criminal law, you have to know Miller hearings, adolescent development, all these pieces. So we've put on two substantive trainings, one in March and one in September. And a few slides from now, I'm going to show you how you can access those. Um, and you can see what we've discussed. Thank you for those on the call who attended, but you can also go online and watch these. We also mentioned, if you're familiar, and my cursor's sort of over it right now, we've created a specific quick guide on tips on representing these youth, and those PDFs are online. And then we've done a number of subsequent blog posts, tips here and there on best practices on representing youth accused of first degree murder. To get to these, I just wanted to show you. So hopefully y'all are familiar with our website. This is the front of our website. And as you can see by my expert highlighting, this is where you click as the Defenders portal. Now, I'm assuming most people on this call know this, but if you don't, once you click on Defenders portal, it'll take you to a password protected part of our website. And so you enter OJD defense, one word, and that's how you get into that. So go to our website, click on Defenders portal. We'll get to this part, this JFDM roster, in a minute, but just talking about resources right now, here's where you go, right here. And then when you do that, this is just sort of part of the resources. You see all the PowerPoints and resources that we had with our two substantive trainings, and also the playlist, especially I think, and I don't know about our second training, but our first training, you can click on the various topics. If you just want to look up, what did they discuss about experts or about mitigation or about working with the parents, you can click on each one of those individually. And those are YouTube videos, but you've got to go through, just as a reminder, let's back up a little bit just to make sure. You got to go website, Defender portal, then you click on this, and that will get you to our YouTube site. it might be a little confusing if you go to our YouTube. So if you type into YouTube OJD or North Carolina Juvenile Defense, we do have a page, but you will not see these videos because we wanted to make them specifically for you, the defenders. So that's why it's a little strange that you have to go through the website to access those. I just wanted to clarify that. So the other thing is that we're working with all the counties. Um, we not infrequently will get a call from a particular jurisdiction saying, "Hey, we need an attorney. We don't have one," or how do we how are they getting appointed now? There's still a little bit of confusion out there that if you're 13 through 17 and charged with first degree murder, what happens? And I hope that everybody on the call knows they do not go through the Capital Defender's office. And sometimes there's some confusion. Capital Defender is contacted, and the Capital Defender says, no, you're appointed locally. So still right now, whether you're in a public defender district or whether you're in a district with privately assigned counsel or MAC contract attorneys, you will get appointed locally. So how did we get here? Like, why is OJD looking to do centralized appointment? And after Raise the Age implementation occurred and then the pandemic hit, we started to see situations, some of which I've just described. We would get a call and we said, well, we have a juvenile attorney, but we don't have an adult attorney, or we don't have any attorneys. And as I stated earlier, we all know that while the death penalty is not an option for sentencing, these are complicated cases. Anytime you represent youth, in any case, it's complicated, but these are especially complex. Um, and now, with the change in the legislation, there are specific rules to 13, 14, and 15-year-olds charged with first degree murder. That's new. So just sort of a side note and maybe a plug to another video. You might have seen Yolanda and I present on legislation that became effective December 1st last week. So we did a webinar on this, and check it out on our website. But one of the pieces that was changed was that for 13, 14, and 15-year-olds, you can now indict them for first degree murder. And they can be held in detention at 30-day intervals instead of 10-day intervals to review secure custody. And I'm saying that just to point out that the law is still evolving. I mean, even as we're discussing it. So it's complicated. And like I said, we saw many attorneys, not many attorneys, but in many jurisdictions, more than one attorney representing the youth. We saw some issues with quality. Maybe they were not as up to speed on the juvenile end. Maybe they really weren't qualified to do the high level felony, a jury trial. So there were issues with that. And then I think, as everybody knows, we are seeing a reduction in the number of attorneys who are doing high level felonies. So that was a concern. And this is just a little bit of data. It is definitely a smaller subset than 18 and older charged with first degree murder, but it's not insignificant. And as you can see, this data generally is the same. The vast majority of these youth are the new Raise the Age cohort. They're 16 and 17-year-olds, but there are a number of 13, 14, and 15-year-olds also charged. We've also had some complications, I think, and we're working on this, where on the petition, it'll state, it'll say, like, in the name of the offense or the title of the offense, first degree murder, but then in the allegations portion, it'll say with malice of, did kill another human being with malice aforethought, which to us, that looks like second degree murder, when in fact, they're charging first degree murder. And so that has also been a complication. And I know I've talked to multiple attorneys about, the best strategies for that. And there might be some folks here on the call who've even been involved in those cases. But we saw that as another complication for this. So after thinking about this for a while, we approached IDS to talk about whether or not there would be the possibility that our office could um, create and host a roster of attorneys specifically just to represent 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17-year-olds charged with first-degree murder and subject to life without parole. Um, we had many discussions with IDS staff, with folks in the field, and presented numerous times to the IDS Commission. Um, and the reason why it's taken so long to go through this process is because we didn't have this authority before. And the IDS Commission must approve rules to change the appointment of attorneys in indigent cases. So it took a while. Um, and what we were fortunate was we already had a couple of examples, the appellate defender, but especially the capital defender, and Rob and Michael and the staff have just been so helpful to us uh, thinking through this process. But we also talked to the public defender offices, trying to get a sense of how this would work. So just this past April, we got official approval from IDS to change the rules to allow our office to be appointing in these cases. Now, say that we right now are not appointing attorneys, and I'll get to that in a second, but it just gave our office the authority, and then we will just uh, set a date certain for when this would happen, and I'll get to that a little bit later in the program. So what exactly would OJD be doing? And the main differences are this, that we create a roster, so we would be the ones to appoint a lawyer initially in these cases. As you know, right now, these attorneys are all appointed locally. You get on a list, you're in a public defender office, and this is handled locally. But instead, this would be handled centrally. So we would build this roster, and then we would build a process with the clerks across the state to notify them of appointing an attorney. Who would be the attorney in this case? The attorney would then submit time to OJD and IDS to get paid. And like the Capital Defender's Office, our office would also be responsible for approving requests by attorneys for expert fees, and then experts would come to us to get paid. Again, very different on how it happens right now, that you would go to the court to get funds approved and to get payment. So the next question is, well, who are we talking about? We've got a large state, we've got 100 counties, 8 new public defender districts on the way. Who are included? So we are including all the non-public defender districts. And I'll get to that in a second. But what that means right now is like real time now, who's not in a public defender district. For those districts coming online, we are talking to them individually. I do not have the list in front of me, so I do not want to go through the list and mistakenly add somebody or leave somebody out. But we've already had some discussions with the new chiefs on how they would like this to happen. But for the current chiefs and the current offices, what we proposed to them was this. Would you like to opt in or opt out? What does this mean? Well, opting out means nothing changes. Like appointment authority stays with the public defender, appointments run through the public defender, and there's no change in how that happens. Now, our office would still support that office, support the attorneys in the office, support the privately assigned counsel in that counties with whatever we could do, training, technical support. We're helping everybody, okay? But it just means that those public defender offices would still continue to appoint locally. But several offices have asked to be opted in, and we have those listed there. We are also in consultation with other additional offices, so this list might grow. I know we are recording this video, so it may change. But what I would say, and I'm going to show you the list of counties in a second, I will say this more than once, is that if you have a question about how appointment is running in your county, you always feel free to contact us and we will let you know. Like I said, because this is still a work in progress, this is who we have for now, but it is subject to change. And there you go. So these are the counties right now that are participating. It may change, but we wanted to give you a sense of that. Now I'm going to just pause for a second and take a breath, and be glad to answer any questions in the chat, or if anybody wants to throw anything out right now, please feel free to do so. Well, I will keep rolling. Okay. So, OJD, I am interested in applying. How do I do this? Well, here's our friendly website. And again, the expertly drawn circle around first-degree murder roster. This is what you click. Okay. And when you click on this, this is basically what you're going to see. Here is the application link. You click on this, access the application. It comes up as a PDF. I believe it's 5 or 6 pages. You fill it out, and you can email them to this address right here. We also have, and I'm going to go through this live today, but we also have the same frequently asked questions at this link. So feel free to click here. So I just wanted to put up there the first page of the application. Berja from our office put this together and did a great job. We think this is very user-friendly, and I appreciate those who have already filled out the application. If you have any questions about the application, again, call us, email us. We'll be glad to help you. We'll help walk through any questions you may have. Now, sort of an extra hot off the presses, those of you who remember newspapers, we are looking into a couple of changes as recommended to us by several attorneys who have gone through this process, and we asked them, well, how can we make it easier? 2 things. First thing is that we are knowledgeable, and we've got a slide later on, and I'll address that when we get to it. But a number of the attorneys who are interested in applying for this roster have already been approved for the capital roster, and that's great. And we would love to have you on this roster. We initially decided to have our own application because we are asking different questions, because you have to have a different base of knowledge. But we are currently looking into possibly streamlining this process for attorneys who are already capital certified. It might be, and I'm saying this on this video, and we haven't decided anything, but it might be that you click on a certain part, and then you click on a part that says, I've already been approved for the capital roster, and you can skip some parts. So we are looking into that. We are trying to make this as easy as possible. The other thing that's happened, and I can put it in the chat at the end of the program, or you can contact us. Another a concern was that we do ask for your CLE history, and for 5 years of it. If you go on the bar website, you will notice that you have to download each year at a time as a PDF, and that is time consuming. So you have to have 5 different PDFs and you got to send that to us. So we contacted the bar, uh, and I spoke, just one second. Sorry, I spoke to the managing director at the bar, and she told me that it is perfectly fine for you to contact her um, if you want. I'm sorry, let me this. Sorry about that. That's what happens. Let's do another. Sorry about that. All right, here we go. Moving this down here. All right. Sorry, folks. I don't know why that's not. Let me. You know what? Mix that out. Sorry, that didn't work. Um, I will get you that contact information. But basically, what we were told is this: that you can go to the bar, and they will provide for you all 5 years of your CLE, and they will send that to you, and you can send that to us. So, um, I will get you that information at the end of this program. Okay. So on our website, you saw we had a link to frequently asked questions, and so I'm basically going to go over those same questions here live for folks. Um, you can tell us. I just want to represent folks in my home county or the county that I predominantly practice in. That is perfectly fine. We would also love if you were interested and available to practice in other places. Um, we kind of thought, sort of adjoining counties, maybe 60 miles from your home office or from the courthouse you normally practice in. And then, of course, if you want to go anywhere in the state, hey, we'd love to have you. But we understand that a lot of you are already overloaded with work, and we are just trying to do the best we can not to add to that. So our hope is that we can appoint attorneys where it suits them best locally, but we're always very grateful if you're interested in going further. Just to make sure people know this, this change occurred January 1st of 2022, that these first-degree murder cases, these kids who are facing life without parole, are paid at $100 an hour, the same as in capital work. And that's how the case starts, not how the case ends. So if you get a resolution for something under first-degree murder, that's still $100 an hour. You get it dismissed, $100 an hour. So hopefully that encourages um, some of you to apply. Okay, so as I mentioned, how is this going to work? And for this and the experts, I will say that on this video right now, we are working on the details of this process. But the main takeaway is this, that you will submit your time to our office /IDS. You will not submit it to the judge. But in all likelihood, um, you will probably work through a process that is, if you are a Mac attorney, you're already probably familiar with this. That right now it's through a spreadsheet, but IDS is working to get a vendor to create a database that will make it easier. And we have asked, and it looks likely that that will be how you will get paid. So hopefully it will be easier, um, more expedient, and you won't have to track down the judge and all that. You just go through our office and IDS, and you will get paid that way. And um, you will get paid monthly. So I did see there was a question. Hold on. Chat. All right. So Darren asks, can we convert current case appointments to OJD appointments so that we can submit our payments to IDS? So we are not doing that right away. Um, but that may come. I don't know. I can ask. But I know that IDS is still working with the vendor, and they don't have anything official yet. Um, but I can ask about that. My guess is we will probably wait, but it's a good question. Thank you. All right. So sorry about that. I know that's filling up space. Okay. So same thing with experts. And in fact, Terry and I were in a conversation just a couple of hours ago about this. We are creating a process similar to the Capital Defender, where you would apply for an amount of funds through us. We would approve the amount, and then the expert would come to us to get paid, and we would keep tabs on that. So it would not, again, go through the judge at all. It would go through our offices working with IDS for payment. Um, so again, hopefully that's an incentive. And just to let you know, once these processes are finalized, we are going to do separate trainings on that to inform roster attorneys. We will do another webinar like we're doing now. We will have it recorded so you can refer back to it. Um, and so that will, of course, be available to you. Don't think that this is the beginning and the end of this conversation. We will definitely have more educational resources for you in the future. Okay. So one of the big questions is, well, I'm getting on this roster. Can I turn down a case? Absolutely. Again, we know the situation out there in the field, and we will be glad to say, okay, well, we'll get to the next person, and then we'll get back to you on that. So don't feel like this is mandatory, that just because I'm on the roster, I have to accept every case that I'm requested to be appointed on. So as you saw in an earlier slide, there are not a lot of these cases. And specifically because they're largely in non-public defender districts, and public defender districts tend to, not exclusively, be in larger, more heavily populated areas. The number of actual appointments that we anticipate in a given year is going to be low. Um, would you like an exact number? Yes. Do I have an exact number? No. But I can give you a range. The number of youth in these jurisdictions where we will be appointing is probably going to be somewhere between 50, 60, 70 youth annually. That is not a lot of cases. So we are hoping that we can reduce asking folks only once, maybe twice a year. That is the goal. But we got to get more folks on the roster. That's kind of how it works, right? The more people we have on the roster, the less cases we have to spread out in the long term. And as I mentioned earlier, you can always turn us down. So, okay, you can see this is the question. Well, I've already been capital certified. You know, why do I need to apply? And I talked a little bit about this earlier, but we are considering some shortcuts. And what I will say is this, that as soon as we kind of finalize that, we will get that information out to you through the capital listserv, the juvenile listserv, the contractor listserv. It will be on a blog. It will be a note on our website. We will get that information out to you as soon as we decide. And I also encourage those who have already applied and had suggestions about the application process, keep those coming. Um, this We are trying to make a consistent process, but this is so new. We are very much open to suggestions, so we appreciate any and all suggestions given us. All right. We already talked a little bit about, we've already had 2 substantive trainings, one in March and one in September, and that they're on the website. However, um, we are planning to do more trainings in 2024. We're already talking about this. They will largely come in 3 categories. We will likely have another, maybe two, but probably one live first-degree murder training again, maybe on some similar topics, maybe on different topics. And as always, if folks have ideas for topics, please send them to us. We are always appreciative to hear new ideas. But there are two other trainings that I'm going to mention. One I sort of alluded to. Once we finalize the processes for attorney payments and expert approval and payments, we are going to do a logistics training on that, and also sort of some of the inner workings of, how am I going to get contacted? Um, you know, how long do you see this process taking? How long do I have to decide this, that, and the other? We're going to provide that in plenty of time before these appointments will begin, but we're still trying to finalize some of the processes internally. We are also going to provide a training on first appearance cases. What do I mean by that? Well, as you can imagine, or as in your experience, most of these youth who are charged are going to be in detention. So you're going to have an initial secure custody hearing. We are not going to be able, or we meaning our office, are not going to be able to appoint somebody in time, in all likelihood, for that initial secure custody hearing. So as part of the rules, those attorneys will be appointed locally, just like they are now. So there will be an attorney appointed locally to the initial secure custody hearing. And so what we'd like to do is for some of those attorneys who might be those initial secure custody attorneys, but may not want to be on the roster, we are going to provide a training for them on some things, some best practices and some things to do to preserve issues, so that when the next attorney gets the case, that information can be shared and passed on to better support the youth in the case. So that's what we're planning to do. And that's what I just talked about. So right now, our plan is to do this first appearance training on February 9th. And you may be asking yourself, well, Eric, if we don't even know when this is starting, it's like, well, it's not going to be starting by February, but we think this is going to be a good opportunity for any attorney who represents youth at that first hearing, but specifically on first degree murder. So we will give you plenty of notice for that, and we'd love to see you there. All right. This is the big question. When is this going to happen? Eric, you've been talking about this for months and months and months. When is it going to happen? Well, we are hoping 2024. I think I'm fairly confident that within the year of 2024, this will start happening. We hope it goes live statewide, but maybe we decide to do pilot sites in areas where we have the attorney support for doing that. We are discussing that, and we hope to have some sense of that in early next year. Likely, this will happen the second half of next year, where we'll start appointments. But as I am actually a lawyer, I can say, or all these other pieces need to be in place. But as always, we will make sure to give you plenty of time. There will not be a surprise where you get an email or a phone call from our office saying, oh, so we've got this case coming up. Can you take it? And you're like, wait, I didn't know this was happening. No, that's not going to happen. Okay. We are going to give everyone plenty of time. And so just to give you a sense of kind of where we went, the commission reviewed this in April. We've talked to the public defender offices and largely, figured out which are opting in and opting out. Applications have been sent out, and we are in the process of educating stakeholders. I didn't really mention that so much in this training, but we are talking to judges, prosecutors, and juvenile justice on kind of what to expect. We've got a number of applications received, and we're reviewing them. And as I mentioned before, we are going to train folks on the process. And let me move this out of the way. And the idea is some 3 to 4 months after we have a set roster, then we'll start appointing attorneys. Hopefully you all are familiar with our office. you can contact any of us at any time with any questions. We will do our best to answer them. I do reserve the right to say, I don't know, because this is so new. But we are trying the best to get a process together that both provides the best representation for the youth out there and makes it as easy as possible for you all to do the work that you need to do. That's why we're doing this. Okay, those are the two main things. So that is the end of the presentation. I hope that it's been helpful, but I will be glad to answer any questions or field any suggestions at this point. I did have a slide with some tumbleweeds, but I decided not to. So there's no questions? Going once. All right. Well, hopefully this has been informative. We will have this on our website. Remember, click on the Defender portal. That's where you can find this on YouTube. You got to go through the portal. You got to go on our website, through the portal. You get on YouTube, and there it will be to refer back to. We will likely have more of these, but feel free to contact us anytime with any questions. And of course, we appreciate everything you do. And if we don't talk to you before, have a great holiday season. Thanks so much.